think we're about to be live. And we're live.
Oh, that's a nice start.
Oh, yeah.
18 seconds. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Matt Bergman, and you are listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast, episode 250.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here tonight.
Quarter millennium.
I'm here tonight with Jared Schneiderman,
What up, everybody?
Philip Dassing,
What is up?
Kylie Wagner,
Hey, guys.
and Douglas Stanley.
What's going on?
Dave Greg says hi to you, Kyle.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah,
Dave Griggs?
he told me to say that as well.
Dave
so,
Gregg.
Yeah.
Dave Greg.
Greg?
Old
Um, Yeah, and I asked Dave Gregg
Oh,
earlier.
that guy that was here last week.
Yeah,
yeah, that
you
guy.
want to speak into the microphone. Remember, like 2 inches away from it, like you're breathing on the tip of my penis. So
Wow.
yeah, so I was talking to Dave Gregg earlier, Kyle, and I asked him if he wanted me to say hi to you for him, and he said, "Why don't you just invite me on the podcast when he's going to be on?" Like it was pretty intense, dude.
Nice. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's nice to be liked.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So topic number one tonight is Iran. Things have just gotten, pretty crazy. It's beginning to look a lot like World War III.
Is that a new, Christmas carol? It's beginning to look a lot like World War III.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I've seen that apparently the Iranian Navy and who else? China and Russia are doing exercises together.
Like calisthenics?
Yeah, that was. I'm pretty sure that was already before all this went down. That was already established. They were going to join in the joint naval, whatever movements with what was that with China and Russia, but. They don't even really have much of a navy. They have 3 boats. It's nothing major at all. They have no aircraft carriers. It's nothing, despite what all the neocons tell you. They don't even, their air force consists of pretty much planes from the 1980s. It's nothing.
Yeah, I've heard people saying oh, well, they have 600. Well, it's all framed around Israel, right? And they're like, oh, well, the population of Iran is X. I don't remember the exact figure, and then
80 million.
80 million, and the population of Israel is only X, Y. It's I don't know, 6 million or something like that, 8 million.
Yeah.
And it's okay, that doesn't mean a goddamn thing. I mean, Israel's military is far more advanced than Iran's. I mean, they have, number one, they have the Iron Dome. Number two, they basically evolve. They basically like the Spartans, like modern day Spartans. I mean, everyone has to serve. They have their own form of martial arts called Krav Maga. I mean,
it's all about the balls.
Yeah, I mean, they have way more. Their military is way more powerful than Iran's. Iran is not really a threat. But of course, the neocons want to frame it like that because that's plays into their agenda. If they can frame Israel as this, defenseless child in the middle of all these horrible, horrible countries that just want nothing more than to destroy them. Which, I mean, there might be some truth to that. I mean, they certainly don't like Israel, but I think Israel can fend for itself without, billions of U.S. dollars and, the U.S. provoking all of its enemies.
Well, tell me more about this assassination that sort of kicked off all of this, because my understanding is that the guy was on a peace mission in Iraq. Is that correct?
General.
No, he wasn't on. From what I heard, he wasn't a peace. But you're starting from the point they want you to start at. This starts.
Whoa! Who's they?
The government. The
Okay.
government wants you to start out. Oh, this guy was assassinated because he's a terrorist and awful person. That's what we got him. That's not where it starts.
I was asking for the backstory before that.
Well, he's trying to give you the backstory.
Before that, yeah. So before that, I mean, this goes back to the Shia militias that are in Iraq. They're comprised of Iraqis, but they're supported through Soleimani and Iranian government because they're Shia as well. We fought, the second Iraq war on their behalf. Essentially, we were allies with them,
With the Shias
and their militias.
Because Saddam was Sunni.
Yeah, he was the part of the Sunni Ba'athist. Yeah, so this guy Soleimani. I mean, everyone wants to pretend like they know who he is, and he's some dangerous terrorist just waiting to blow up, your local town mall or whatever. But
No, he was a general.
Yeah, he was a general, and he's regarded I think Dan McAdams said he would be like if someone in our country, like if it was assassinated, it would be like you'd compare it to like Mike Pence if Mike Pence was assassinated. That's what he meant to the Iranian people.
So he was like their vice president.
In like how they regard him.
But actually, that's a terrible comparison because
Yeah, nobody likes Mike Pence, though.
very
no,
few,
like in his position of power
Well,
and
think of
from
him
his
as like Colin Powell being assassinated.
right, yeah,
or
you
like
could-
General Petraeus when he was
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
when he was in
Okay.
power.
But he's held in that high regard as like almost like second in command, like type of thing. Like that's how much he's well respected, according to Dan Adams.
And so hold on, why what is the alleged reason for the attack?
Okay, so they have been going after ISIS, and they've been in the countryside. Like these Shia militias have been in Iraq.
So you're saying Donald Trump wanted to come to the aid of ISIS?
Pretty much. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what started.
because-
Obama started that
Because
shit.
Soleimani actually was helping organize the Syrian militias against ISIS.
Which we were funding and backing and supporting.
Who?
The ISIS.
Oh yeah, we ended up
Well, when we in the
inadvertently supporting ISIS.
I wasn't
shit.
inadvertently. They knew what they were doing. The Operation Timber Sycamore, they knew exactly what they were doing. They were giving money to groups. And one of the groups was named the Bin Laden Front. That was one group that we were giving money and weapons to.
Really?
The Bin Laden Front. They were fighting. They were the quote-unquote moderate rebels.
Was there a Bin Laden back?
But hold on, so hold on.
Dad
Go back.
jokes
I'm
from
gonna
Doug.
flesh this out. So what happened to like immediately to the immediate provocation of this attack or this assassination, I should say, was allegedly because some rebel group stormed or tried to storm the U.S. Embassy, right?
Yes.
Now, did they kill anybody?
Nope.
Did they hurt anybody?
Nope.
Okay. So in response to some rebels who were linked to Iran somehow, right?
Yeah,
They
they
were
were
Iranian
protesting.
backed.
They were protesting because Israel and the United States blew up one of their for months now they've been hammering these Shia forces in Iraq, and they ended up killing some of the military members of the Iraqi military, the one that we set up.
Right.
The United States and Israel killed a bunch of them. And so
we
they started
support the Shia.
So they went to the embassy and were flipping out and protesting the $1 billion embassy, and it's pretty much just like a throne to our imperialism. And they went there and they got past the welcome gate, and the Iraqi police let them, and they burned a bunch of stuff. And then that's when we started dropping in the Marines, and everyone ran. And so based upon that, in the meantime, after they got attacked. I'm talking about the Shia Iraqi militias. When they got attacked, they lobbed a bunch of rockets at a American military position, which had government contractors and soldiers, and they killed one contractor. And so then they went in. This happened last week, actually, and this has all been going on before that. But right before we went on the podcast last week, this had happened where they had fired back and destroyed and like killed these essentially Iraqi they were like Iraqi people like in the military and the Iraq government there. And it's just been a back and forth. That's all this is. But people like to pretend that he was just sitting there plotting, waiting. And matter of fact, from what I heard, Soleimani went to a commercial airport in Baghdad, and he was there. And according to him and the United States government, they said they've been monitoring this guy for a long time, and they knew exactly where he was. He even made some tweet like saying like you'll never strike me or something like that. I don't know. Like it was like a Twitter beef, I guess, and Donald Trump took it to the next level. And so he went there to visit someone who had died in the recent attacks. He went there, flew on a commercial flight to be at one of their funerals, from what I heard. I could be wrong on that.
It's amazing how we all hear different shit.
Exactly.
I have read completely different stuff from everything you're telling me. You know, I heard that Trump said that this guy was plotting an imminent attack against the United States.
Yeah, but even
no
Pompeo,
proof.
even Pompeo was on video saying that the supposed imminent attack was not going to take place anywhere near the United States.
It's an attack on the empire, not the United States.
All right.
And he conceded that on video. Like Tucker, like you got to watch this Tucker Carlson video where
Nails it.
Where Tucker Carlson, I mean, I don't know what's going on with him, but he's changed a lot. I mean,
Is he better?
He's a lot better on some things. I mean, he also kind of sounds like a fucking Bernie bro at times, but
Yeah, he's
But
very
at least he's,
nationalistic
like-
economically.
yeah, I mean, he's basically turned into a real populist. which
Wow.
is not necessarily a good thing. But he is making some good like non-interventionist noise on this issue.
Well, Tulsi made a good point. That's like, the president's not allowed to just go and like assassinate these high-ranking people because you could start a war, right? This is an act of war. He did it without the approval of Congress, and it could drag the entire country, our country, into a war with Iran,
Right.
which is going to cost a lot of lives and a lot of money. So, I mean, I'm not real happy with Trump that he did this. Not that I'm ever really happy with him, but I'm just saying, like, that's messed up. You have to discuss something like this with other people.
Right.
It's a guy like this that's high up in their political structure. I mean, maybe if it's just like a terrorist in a cave, you go, that kind of shit happens, and people are like, oh well, we got the guy. He was in a cave plotting to bomb us. But when you attack a high-profile figure like this, it's an assassination. That is an assassination of a political figure, and it's very risky to do something like that. And it's in my opinion messed up because I do think, I'm going to go with the one source that I read, that the guy was on a peaceful mission to Iraq, and you kind of took advantage. It's like taking a shot at somebody's grandma on Sunday morning at church. You know what I mean?
I mean,
It's just
assuming
messed
that
up.
grandma's
They-
responsible for like
In her church hat,
yeah.
Then they also killed an top Iraqi. I think he was part of one of the militias there in the Quds forces. I think he was killed in it too, and he was a high-ranking guy too. I don't know his name. I forget. There's too many things to keep track of.
The people are like the Iranians are like flooding the streets. There's millions of them in the streets mourning this guy. I mean, I had never heard of him, but apparently he was very popular.
You guys see the image of the bridge? And I forget where was that? It was in Iran, I think. Where the bridge is like a mile-long bridge, and it's filled with thousands and thousands of mourners out at his like funeral procession. Like, it's insane. He meant a lot to these people, and I didn't know who he was. I had maybe heard the name once before, but I can't tell you when or where.
Did you know that Germans love David Hasselhoff?
I heard that.
It doesn't. Look. Apparently the guy was a bad dude, but so was Saddam, right? And so was Gaddafi. All these guys were bad dudes to some degree.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is a bad dude.
Exactly.
Does that mean we should just go around assassinating people and not think of the consequences? Apparently, it does mean that.
It's kind of our MO, though. We
know.
tend to just go to
But
these
it's like we
countries
don't
and topple
learn.
their whole
And-
thing.
And the people who come on, they're like, oh, and
And
they
people hate
list
us
all
more.
this guy's crimes and say like, oh, well, he deserved to die. Yeah, maybe he did, maybe he didn't deserve to die. That's besides the
are
point.
we the judge and jury of the world? If people want us, so the Trump administration doesn't want us in any of these places. They want to pull out.
Allegedly.
So
Yeah, which part of the administration?
So thinking about that, and then we go and we do these crazy aggressive moves when, most Iranian people don't even give two fucks about us over here in America. It's the government and the hardliners who care.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's mainly because we're starving them economically. I was all for them when they started lifting sanctions and we were starting to get cheaper oil prices. But, more sanctions means more expensive oil.
Mm-hmm.
Who does that benefit, though, in the region? What
Saudis.
other players in that region would want Soleimani taken out, too?
Saudi Arabia, Qatar,
Saudi
UAE.
Arabia.
They're all of them. They're all in
we're
that alliance with Israel.
We're
It's
the
same
lapdogs of Saudi Arabia, though.
We are.
They say, "Hey, we don't like this guy. He's in Iraq. Can you off him?" And yeah, of course, yeah, shit, we can off him. Oh, guess what? Now the whole region's going to be destabilized, and our oil prices are going to go up.
But that's good for government contractors. That's good for Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin. That's
oil
good
prices.
So
Yes, all type of controversy and chaos in the Middle East benefits them.
Okay, so
They can sell more
here's a
weapons.
question, Phil. So like I've read in a couple different places. I've seen like Trumpers saying stuff like Iran attacked a U.S. embassy somewhere. Do you know anything about that?
That's what we were just
That's the
talking about.
Iraqi embassy.
So okay,
They're saying it's
They're
Iranians,
saying they
even though
attacked
they're all
it, and it was
Iraqi
it was
citizens.
some rebel group that was allegedly backed by Iran, right?
Well, there's been
Yes.
lots of
It
there's
was
been
a
lots of
militia
protests because
was
there's been
backed.
absolutely like a ton of protests going back to October that people protesting because they're sick and tired of the Iraqi puppet, being the Iraqi government being puppets of the United States, and they're sick
Well, yeah,
of the United
they're
States.
getting ready to actually. The parliament's getting ready to vote.
They
them
did.
out
They
of
voted
it.
this morning.
Did
voted,
it
yes,
pass?
Yes, they
Yeah,
voted this
They
morning.
voted
So,
to
are they
expel
actually
the
gonna
United
leave?
States.
No. When do you guys ever think the United States was going to leave anywhere? They're not going to leave any part of the empire.
Well, it's funny because I was talking to my cousin about this last night, and
Sorry, I gotta mute this.
yeah, he was actually saying like if this is like a 4D chess move, he was just
always a 40.
I know he was
I
talking
know.
he was talking about like the possibility of there's a chance like Iraq will get pissed and then they'll ask us to leave and then we get an out of Iraq, right?
But
Because I mean otherwise we're stuck there forever.
here's another thing that
like
people,
rebuilding.
people
right?
need to know about. This vote was up going last week before any of this happened. They were already voting on this. But then some people are saying, well, there's reports saying that these Shia militias made sure that all the people who would vote for them to stay in the United States, they threatened them that if they came back, they'd kill them. And so that's why they didn't vote. They didn't show up to vote. No, this was already in the works. And people are there's the propaganda is so fucking strong. There was a Daily Mirror article. I think that's what Daily Mirror, and it just came out. It's I'm sure you guys saw this headline where it says Iran offers an $80 million price to kill Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Did you guys read the article?
No.
Okay, well
I
I
figured it was nonsense.
I read the article and guess what it was? It was an organizer of the funeral procession for Soleimani. It was just an organizer. He organized the thing, just whatever. And he said that there's 80 million citizens in Iran and we all should raise up $80 million to put a price on Donald Trump's head. No one official in the government.
Official
No,
from the
no.
government.
And it's just propaganda, and everyone's gonna read the fucking headlines like a tool, and they're gonna be like, "Whoa, geez, Iran, they're putting out hits on Donald Trump."
Hey, what is he gonna do? Like a GoFundMe? Because I feel like I know a lot of Democrats that would probably vote for that or like chip it.
Probably. Well, what's the thing that Michael Moore
Oh, yeah. I was
sent a
thinking about
personal text to the Ayatollah, whatever today, saying I reached out to him and just doing all this like.
That
How does
guy's
he
a
how does he
goddamn
have
menace.
the Ayatollah's phone number?
I don't know. And then Rachel McGowan,
Yeah.
she went out and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like the worst thing America did. We're being held hostage by the Trump administration, and we have no choice. Please forgive us." Like that type of shit. I'm
Well,
like, what
some
the
of the
fuck?
some of the left wing media has been supportive, haven't they?
Yes, there's been a lot of Washington Post articles coming out in CNN as well,
Yeah.
talking shit about Soleimani and all the awful things he did, and how many people he killed, American soldiers he killed, because they come up with this number 603, 600 or 630, something like that. Soldiers were killed by Soleimani, but what they don't tell you is they were Iraqi Shia. So pretty much anyone with the Shia or anyone with a rifle who's a Shia in Iraq is Iran. That's what they say. So they'll just say, "Oh, it was Iran. Iran did it."
Well, they say that because Iran is pretty much all Shia, and Iraq is a mix of Sunni and Shia.
No, it's mostly Shia. Iraq is mostly Shia. It was held, I think it was like an 80-20 by Shia Sunni.
Yeah,
They
the
were a
Sunni
minority, but they had like a secular dictatorship under with Saddam Hussein and the Ba'athist Party.
I don't
from
know
what
how
I
they
remember.
pulled that off. I mean, it's really hard to be the 20% and still manage to rule like that.
Yeah, seriously. I
ruled-
mean,
he ruled like a thug. I mean, have you guys ever seen like a lot of the videos like of him in Parliament? And he was calling out people name by name, like who was turned against him. Like I think this was in the 70s. This was Saddam Hussein, and he's sitting there reading up names, and all these politicians are standing up saying, "I support you, I support you," and he's like, "No, your name's on this list," and he's like, "Go," and they like take him away one by one, and he was a brutal dictator. He was an awful dude, but that's how he ran the country. But it was like secular, so it didn't really matter because it wasn't like a theocracy, so
Yeah.
it didn't really matter who was in charge.
Well, that's how Iran was before.
Yeah.
Before the CIA installed the Ayatollah, right?
No, the Ayatollah came from the revolution.
yeah,
installed the Shah.
you're talking about the
Well, yeah.
Shah.
Then like Mossadegh.
It was
and-
the
Right,
king
right.
of Iran,
Yeah.
and he was U.S. backed.
Yeah, and no one talks about that shit too. 1953. Like
mean,
no one
look,
talks about that
Back
at all.
then, Iran, from the 50s to when they had the
70s, right?
revolution, Iran
79. Yeah.
Iran was a
Secular.
very beautiful place.
Yeah.
I mean, their women had freedoms; they could wear skirts. And
Well, I mean,
But the
show
U.S.
their
did
face
back
and
the
not cover
revolution,
their
right?
hair.
No, the U.S. No. The U.S. The revolution is what caused the whole shit against the
Yeah,
Iranian people.
The Shah came to the
Wait,
U.S.
wait,
for
wait.
surgery or something, and the Islamists took over, and the Ayatollah was like, because he was the religious leader, he said, we're not going to deal with this anymore. And all the ultra-conservative Islamic people were like, we're taking over.
But he ran a brutal dictatorship, the Shah.
Well, yeah,
He ran a
because
brutal
we put
dictatorship, and
dictators
he was
into
put in
power.
there in 1953, installed by the government of the United States. The CIA backed it. This is all
This is what we
FOIA,
do.
you know, it's all out there for you to read. It's not conspiracy.
We know
It's
this.
true. And what blows me away is people don't understand that it was only like a 26-year gap between the Shah being installed and then having this brutal regime, and then the people of Iran saying, fuck this guy's a puppet, we're sick of it, and they revolted.
So prior to that, they just had a regular sort of their own
Yeah, it was like a
secular government.
Yes. But it was like a dictatorship, like Saddam Hussein. Like this is who he was. And then in 1979, it all changed, and that's when the religious fundamentalism, which, you know, it gets brought up. It's like, hey, we're sick of these people. I don't know. It's like almost like how Nazism spread in the Weimar Republic. It's
Godwin's law,
Yeah.
man. You invoke the Nazis.
yeah.
Oh, man.
Whatever,
Terrible.
But I get what you're
It's-
saying. You're saying
Now
as a
you get it. You understand what I'm saying.
as a
When I'm putting
response
that-
to turmoil that was in part created by the U.S. government.
Yes. That's a better way to put
the
it.
revolution
Sorry.
occurred, installing, you know, a theocracy
Yeah.
that now is, you know, an enemy to the United States.
Exactly. And then and everything has been about that since then, except for when Ronald Reagan sold them missiles back in '85.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but it's all been about Iran. Everything
When
we've
we
been doing
sold
in the
them
Middle East
missiles-
has been about attacking Iran.
When we sold them missiles, I think they were in a war with Iraq. In the
No, we were
80s?
backing their.
They-
We backed Iraq in that.
Yeah, when
we
was
armed Saddam Hussein.
when was that war? The
That was in
Iraq Iran.
1980. The 1970s. I forget.
No, the
man. It
war
was-
was that.
I also-
forget.
I also
I don't
read
know.
today that-
It's so much information to keep in your head, man.
I also read
It
today
is.
that Iran has completely, and I thought this had already happened, but any bit that was left in the nuclear deal is completely gone now.
Yeah, but they were within their
completely pulled
rights. They were the United States withdrew with that in 2017, and in the actual JPOAC or whatever, it says that if the United States withdraws, they are allowed to then increase their levels of whatever they were building up. They were allowed to, because
And they hadn't been.
And they
Or-
hadn't been. And then as soon as Donald Trump withdrew in 2017, that's when they started increasing it. And so now they said, well, fuck this all together now after
Yeah.
this shit.
Well, they were hopeful that we would come back to the table and get
Yep.
some kind of deal
Yep.
going. But when you got a president that says, hey, you know, we want to deal with no pre-existing conditions, they're like, well, what the fuck does that mean? So they're trying to figure out, you know, what's the pre-existing conditions. They were already abiding by the agreement that was negotiated by Europe and all them.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And we dropped out of it, and for some reason people thought that was a great thing. I was like this is like terrible.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. There were a lot of Trump supporters that were like,
Because everyone's just so fucking like fed with this bullshit propaganda. Like,
They are.
they're
They're
like, Iran is the
controlled by
terrorist.
the
would you say that's the
right-wing
best
media.
thing that Obama did?
Yeah.
The Iran.
Yeah, that and the
Actually,
lifting of
that
sanctions
wasn't
to
even
Cuba.
Obama
Yeah.
doing that. That was mostly European countries that were doing that.
But Obama got the United States in that, and we gave them the money back that we had stolen from them.
Well, yeah, we should have given them the money back we stole.
Yeah.
And then he
Was
also
that frozen
pardoned Chelsea
assets?
Manning, right?
Yeah, we had frozen assets,
Mhm.
and because they gave us they also gave us a bunch of money for more of airplanes and stuff like that, and like fighter jets, and then
Yeah, because they were going to buy.
and we
equipment.
were gonna give that to them, and then we said no, and so pretty much we had their money sitting there, and we also froze a bunch of their assets. So that's where when the Democrats say, "Oh, the pallet of money we sent over to Iran in the middle of the night," that was their money back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like that's
because
what that
we,
was.
We reneged on a deal.
And it's like, it's all this. I'm just blowing out my mind. Like, there's all this information out there.
And nobody
And-
believes it.
Yeah, and no, it's out there, and I can't like. I must feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It just got me so fucked up and then having to explain this to a bunch of libertarians who are like, so-called libertarians, and they say that I'm not a libertarian because I'm against this somehow. It's bizarre. It's bizarre how like they're defending killing this guy, and they think this is a good thing. And I think a lot of it is, God, they just can't get out of the Donald Trump. Like they just love Donald Trump.
But I've seen even like so it was. I was telling you earlier. I logged into the Twitter account to rip on this this libertarian e-girl called the Redhead Libertarian. There's actually like 3 of them.
Oh yeah,
But-
I follow her.
But she's like the official one of it. And yeah, I mean, she tweeted like on the day it happened, it was basically justifying it, saying like they attacked our embassy.
She said
This
that's
is a
property
good
rights.
thing.
Yeah,
What's that?
she kept making a
Yeah, she
property
was
rights
making
argument
a property rights
for
argument.
a U.S. embassy of a country they invaded and spent $1 billion in tax dollars to build this embassy, and somehow that grants them property
And then
rights.
today she posts like
No.
I can't believe all these libertarians are like arguing from morals instead of listening to facts. It's like, dude, libertarianism is a fucking moral
Dude, she
philosophy.
must be blowing. She must be blowing.
We don't even have property rights in the United
blowing
States. Why
who?
would we have them in another
like
country?
the
The Liberty
Ben
Hangout guy?
Shapiro. Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro.
She's totally blowing Ben Shapiro. She's getting a face full of facts.
Oh, my
yeah, and I'm
Lord.
just like, do you know what libertarianism is? I mean, like,
What did she respond?
I don't know. Not last I checked, but
whatever.
I don't know. It's just funny. It's like you get some girl that's like mildly attractive that calls himself a libertarian, and then suddenly they've got like 100,000 followers, and
Yeah, like a feeding
everyone's
frenzy.
taking everything they say seriously, and then you're shocked when suddenly they say something that's like completely asinine and stupid, and you're like, oh,
Maybe
that-
I
that's
should
what
just
you
put a
get.
picture of a hot girl on my Twitter. See what happens. Oh, that's a weird name
Somebody
for a
actually
girl,
did
Doug.
that. I forget what account that was. Someone got busted for doing that.
Busted
recently.
like
yeah.
busted
Somebody
like
like
how? Busted a nut
Well,
or something?
I don't know,
Maybe.
man. Put up a picture. What is that? The app that switches you over, makes you look like a girl.
Nah, that'd be an ugly girl.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Let's see it.
Nah,
I'll see
Dude,
if
I don't
it's
even think it
bankable,
matters,
man.
to be honest.
I don't.
Like,
I don't download all those apps on my phone. I don't want China watching me.
That's
some,
Russia.
There's some thirsty
Okay.
basement dwelling libertarians out there.
I bet there
I think
are.
I think it would be awful
I think
to try to do like a month as a woman on social media and just see what it's like from the other
I
side.
don't
It
even
is
think
bad.
I
And
could
constantly getting
think like
messages,
that.
But-
creepy ass messages, those like sticker things with the hearts and the.
But
you know.
there's a lot of people put themselves out there and like they wear skimpy underwear like and take pictures of it and be like, I'm a libertarian, like me, and then they're like, oh my god, can you believe these guys are like
Can you believe
sending
my
me dick
inbox?
pics? Yeah, I'm like a little bit, but
They'll
there. But
put
no, you are correct.
Libertarian bumper stickers
there
on
are-
their ass cheeks or
right.
something.
There are girls who just exist and they get sent all this creepy fucked up shit. And like I
A lot of
do
them
agree
get
with you on
that.
Huh?
A lot of them get that.
Yeah, but
That's
some
part of
them-
being a woman on
yeah,
social media.
I agree.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
the
we're not.
thirst
I'm not,
is
I'm not
real.
sa- I'm not condoning that at
Yeah.
all. I'm just criticizing this particular account
Yeah, I gotcha.
for just being a warmonger, and I don't know.
And she's justified, and it's so weird. It's so weird. It's like you kill an Iranian because a bunch of Iraqis stormed a United States embassy, and you're like, it's Iran's fault. It's just
Well,
so
it's the same.
convoluted.
It's the same thing. It's like, do these people not understand that this is the same exact shit that happened with 9/11? Right? We
How
had
far-
yes. We
Oh
had.
no,
What's that?
no, they don't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand. Like, this is exactly what people said. Okay, these
Right.
these people are being funded by Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda is in where Al Qaeda is being funded by Saddam Hussein and being
Oh,
provided weapons
and-
or all this shit.
And get this, Charlie Kirk, that fucking big-headed loser, posted today of all the reasons why this was justified. He said one thing Iran did was transferred Al Qaeda members during 9/11.
Transferred?
Yeah, or something like that, or transported them, or allowed them access through their country.
I'm pretty
If
sure.
that's the case, why aren't we blowing up Florida, all the
came
Georgia,
through a lot of
South Carolina,
places.
Maryland? But we let them go through our states.
I'm pretty sure that
They trained
Saudi
in Florida.
Arabia
I know.
supported Al Qaeda too.
Who?
Saudi Arabia. I'm
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
sure they
Yes, they
supported.
funded.
them.
They
They were
literally
like-
gave money to fucking Osama bin Laden and said, okay, hey, look, we know we have troops here and you don't like that, you fundamentalist guys, but we'll pay you guys to just go set up your camps in Afghanistan and not bomb us.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we'll take your money.
Well-
And that's exactly what the fuck
well,
happened.
what's his name was from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so he was able to pull strings. He's kind of like, hey, if you don't want your shit blown up, give us money.
Hey,
And so they funded camps but at the same time, the United States, according to some people, I don't have docs on this, but according to some people, that right before 9/11, there were CIA training camps in Afghanistan training the Uyghurs, the Chinese Uyghurs, to them to be terrorists. The United States
Yeah.
was training them in their
Yeah,
terrorist camps. It's
we
just
do that.
it's I don't know, man. I wouldn't.
That's why
I would
China's
not
got them all in internment camps now.
Exactly. And so to me, I went necessarily. I don't have the facts about that. I've only heard one person source that, but I would believe it. Yeah, it's totally assertion. But could you honestly say, oh, you guys, that's out of the realm of possibility what the United States would do?
No.
Exactly. I mean, that's the point where they pushed us to, because all the fucking lies. The Iraqi paper or the Afghan papers just came out less than a month ago, telling you how much bullshit that war was, and now here you are buying the same bullshit by the same people about Iran. Like, fuck off. Like, I shouldn't have to explain this to you. The information is out there.
Nuts, dude.
It is bizarre, especially to libertarians. And I'm sorry, that pisses me the fuck off.
Maybe they're not real libertarians, Phil.
Apparently I'm not. I'm just a Jew-hating Zionist or whatever the fuck people call me. It's stupid and bullshit. And like, fuck off. If you can't get that through your dumb skull, then be gone. Like, I don't.
Dude,
I'm sorry.
anybody that says Phil's a Zionist should know that he's holding Jared's wiener right now.
It's the other way around. The Zionists
I was gonna say I'm holding Jared's Mount
anyone
Zion.
thinks he's
Anti-Semite.
a Jew hater.
Anti-Semite. Right.
Yeah, I'm holding his Mount Zion right in my hand right now.
Oh, jeez.
Is it going to explode?
It might be. I don't know. It's
gonna produce some tablets.
I don't know. It's just it's so fucked up having to explain this stuff. And you got I'm preaching to the choir. At least I thought I was. I thought we had an echo chamber, but apparently we had a bunch of fucking neocons.
What do you mean you thought we had an echo chamber?
I thought I was in a libertarian group called Punk Rock Libertarians.
An echo chamber?
Founded by the lead singer of Post Freedom. I thought we were.
Dude, we definitely don't have an echo chamber. There's arguments every day in Punk Rock Libertarians.
Well, I found out the hard way we're not, because there were a bunch of people calling me libtard and all these other stuff, because how dare I be against the war in Iran? How dare I? I'm such a fucking loser.
Okay, so being called libtard is the hard way?
Yeah, when I'm like, oh, hey, I'm like, cool, I'll go to the group. I'll share some of these things like, wow, this is fucked up. And then I see post after post after post of people saying, good, this guy deserved to die. Good, it's about time we put Iran in its place. Yeah. Good, this is great. And I'm like, am I in fucking punk rock neocons? Is that what I'm in?
I thought this was America. What?
Like,
right?
I assumed there'd be a base level of agreement across the board.
Yeah, you would see like one or two guys, like, your Timothy guy.
It was all
like,
and he wasn't even doing that. Timothy wasn't even doing that. It was
no, he was. I saw him doing it.
He did a little defending, but he wasn't making posts. He was commenting on posts, but he wasn't. Yeah. Well,
it's tribalism, Phil. People get very nationalistic, both sides, when something like this happens. The Iranians are coming together and they're buckling down. It's very polarizing both countries.
Now we have Donald Trump's assassination that completely pushed Soleimani. Because guys, this.
Hey, I've got a question for Jared, the Jew. Jared, as a Jew, how do you feel about Phil's anti-Semitism?
I don't feel that it exists, man.
I don't know. Talk to Darren.
You're the one that's always putting my name with like 3 parentheses around it in the group and tagging me.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Oh, you're the one who's always laughing about it. So okay.
I am. Well, I'm actually not seeing it because I deleted my Facebook app. But
oh, okay.
That's why I didn't see your post on my wall, by the way.
Okay, good to know.
Wow.
I mean, I can still log in. I didn't delete my account.
No, I mean,
but I'm still around.
I mean, I'm just like, I just think that this is funny. I don't think Phil has any anti-Semitism at all. I think that's like, I think that's really like a bullshit allegation.
It's out there.
We've got a comment. We have been assassinating people with drones for years. Why all of a sudden does everyone care? Better late than never, but this happens all the time.
He has got a great point. I mean, that's a great point.
Yeah, we've been killing people since Bush administration with drones.
Well, he was a political leader. That's
right,
why.
but the thing is, when they kill some ISIS member or not even an ISIS member. I mean, I guess you could say ISIS. It's just
or a no-name
kill an ISIS member, but yeah, some no-name guy that's leading some moderate rebel group, and then that we were funding before.
Wedding
for
a while.
Wedding caravan. Doctors Without Borders encampment. They destroyed one of those.
American citizens. We're just
shit. Oops, they were doctors.
Oh yeah. What was it? The little boy.
Yeah. And then
it's been going on.
It's never ending. So I get that, but see, now this was a big escalation. This is as bad as I mean, here's another thing too. Hillary said she wanted a no-fly zone over Syria when Russian military the Air Force was flying over Syria. She wanted a no-fly zone. So that means that we bomb and blow them up, which would cause World War III. And that's what Trump said. That's what a bunch of these MAGA people were saying. And they got that concept. But yet they don't get the concept of assassinating a top Iranian official in Iraq on a commercial airport that isn't going to trigger Russia into anything. So this whole concept of World War III, we're dealing with such thin. We're on thin ice with these people.
Think about it this way, though. When we do things like this, who are they going to ally with? Are we going to push them to ally with China and Russia?
They already are.
As but even harder as military partners and so forth against us. Is this going to come to like a evil access type thing?
Well,
We
has
got the
Putin,
allies
has
and the
Putin said
Axis?
anything yet? Have there been comments made?
I don't know. Honestly, I thought I saw something, but I saw a lot of bullshit too. So who knows?
I'm going to be interested to see how the Iraq thing goes with the expelling our troops, because granted, I did read that was a non-binding resolution, so it may not happen. But I guess the thing that could happen is that the country deteriorates again. I don't know that it's ever really reached a point of stability, but if we withdraw, does it then turn into a civil war? Does that
Probably.
empower the ISIS groups that are still there and the other factions that are still there to take over and try to overthrow the government again?
But each day, it's a Band-Aid you got to rip off. And there's terrible things are going to happen. They're going to happen whether we're there or we're not there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, why do I got to foot the bill? And why do I have to become the target now?
Oh,
if,
I
if
agree.
If that happens.
I agree.
Because Iran can't attack us in the United States. We are protected by ocean. Hitler couldn't reach us. No one can reach us. We defeated the greatest empire in the world at that time, the British government, because we had the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Like that they did more for. I said this before, and I don't care who the fuck I triggered. They did more for our freedom than any soldier ever did. Those Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. And there's no way now even Iran could do anything. But what they can do is they could vaporize a whole bunch of soldiers in the empire that are all surrounding Iran, and so many military bases and embassies that they could just vaporize. And they have missiles now. They've been getting them from North Korea. They've been getting them from Russia. They've been getting them from all these places. Because
I wouldn't think that the North Korean missiles would do very much or even hit their target.
But it's enough to. I would think it's enough technology. They're not a pushover like Iraq was. They have a lot of
no,
stuff.
they're definitely not a pushover. They're very aggressive.
So I think we would just eventually destroy them, but at what cost of 50,000, 75,000 troops, potential violation of our rights here at home by instituting a small minor draft. Just think of the unintended
Worst case
consequences of all of
scenario
this.
would be, we get kicked out of Iraq. We might not leave Iraq completely because we might stay in Iraqi Kurdistan.
Yeah.
Then they're trying to figure out how do we get, attack American soldiers. Then they attack American soldiers in either Saudi Arabia or somewhere else, and then Saudi Arabia
Or they just
has
attack
to
Israel,
retaliate.
or they just attack Israel, and we'll come right to their defense. Or if they attack, they attack Turkey. Turkey's been in the area.
They're not going to attack Israel.
Well, what if they attack Turkey? What if they attack it? That gets the UN involved. I mean,
But Turkey's going to be like buddy with them because Turkey doesn't really like us.
But isn't
either.
the real scary thing what not necessarily Iran, but what China and Russia
Yes.
would do to support Iran?
Yes.
I mean, Russia could probably reach us with something.
Oh, they can
North
reach
Korea
us.
could probably reach
I mean,
us with
North Korea
something.
could reach us
Potentially.
Sure.
Well,
Potentially.
North
you
Korea
know.
could reach Guam.
Yeah, exactly. So they could kill a lot of our empire, but maybe not the mainland United States. And that's my point, is if we didn't have thousands and thousands of Americans in guns walking around doing whatever, in every single country surrounding them, they wouldn't have targets to hit. And maybe they wouldn't be hostile to us in the first place.
Yeah.
If we weren't there. If we weren't invading their neighbors, threatening them the entire time. Have economic terrorism and these sanctions that are killing people. Like if we weren't, doing the bidding of Saudi Arabia and Israel all the time, maybe they wouldn't hate us. Anyone thought about that? I mean, goddamn, like fucking Ron Paul's talking about blowback all these years, and Apparently now a bunch of libertarians just gave up on that and don't understand shit, or at least they're pretending to be libertarian. I don't know what the fuck they are. I don't care. They say I'm issuing purity tests. No, I'm just common sense test.
Well, yeah,
You
that's
fail.
the new thing. It's like if you call somebody out for like violating even the most basic of libertarian
Exactly.
principles,
Well, you
suddenly
can't-
you're like, oh, you're instituting your purity test.
You can't have a libertarian
like I'm not
purity test because we're not all the same. Out of
But you
all
can have
of
a
us,
basic
we're
test.
starkly different people.
Sure, but I think we can all agree that like blowback is a thing, and that just like indiscriminately killing people to promote, to promote the empire.
You mean
and for,
using force of government in any way?
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, some libertarians would say, like Kyle would say, like the force of government is necessary in certain things, right?
We're not talking about the
No.
force
Well,
to
we're not talking
arrest
about
somebody.
like the fucking roads. We're talking
Right,
about
yeah.
we're talking about just like
Yeah.
killing.
Yeah, you
killing.
can't use the force of government to kill people from other countries or their own citizens.
Right. Sure.
Unless
yeah.
I think we can all agree on that. As
Yeah, and I
libertarians.
could even I wouldn't get behind. I would be against, but maybe if you went through Congress and followed your own damn rules that's been established for hundreds of years of, hey, we got to let Congress know and see if Congress thinks first, not just unilaterally doing it yourself and
Well, you do
then letting them
realize
know
this
48 hours after you
thinks
blown people
Congress
apart.
is a joke. They-
Congress is a joke. They've done that to themselves. Congress has made themselves look like a joke. So I don't. They're all a joke, but they still don't follow the rules. Even if the rules suck, follow the rules. Remember, this is everyone wants to worship the three branches of government, all the bullshit they taught you in Civics 101 or whatever the fuck. They want you to worship it at the ground of the Constitution, but they don't follow it. No one follows it.
Phil, it's the holy trinity of government.
It is.
I
mean,
think-
it literally is.
I think Phil's getting a good fire up day here.
I've been fired up.
He's
on
been
this.
fired up the whole podcast.
Because it's just such common sense shit, and like you guys have to at least say, yeah, this probably wasn't a good idea. I don't, killing a
think
bunch
it
of
was
people. I don't think this was a good idea. I don't think it was smart. And at the worst you could say is, wow, it was a lot of money wasted on those bombs. How much did that gas cost? Did it cost paying that soldier? How much did it cost? The bomb itself, how much is it going to cost rebuilding? Because you bet your ass we're probably going to be rebuilding that airport we blew up, just like we rebuilt Iraq. After the war,
they'll just dump some Flex Seal in that hole.
smack it on, just like
Right.
smack right on the side of.
I
the
mean, it is
airport.
just I mean, it's just like imagine if it were the other way around. Imagine if like that guy was in America, like landing at BWI,
And then they blew up
and then they just
BWI.
blew up a runway at BWI. Like, think about that. How fucking crazy is that? You're there with your family. You're like fucking getting ready to fly to Miami, and then all of a sudden a fucking rocket comes in.
And they got military bases in Canada and Mexico, and they've been threatening to invade your country and put economic sanctions on you and your family where you can't get basic needs. And
I was
stuff.
talking about the Iraqis, but
What?
yeah,
The
but still,
comparison, yeah, it's all
yeah,
the same.
it's just it's rules for thee and not for me, right?
Right. That's what it boils down to. And I'm sorry, but this is a basic thing that I really like. Okay, we can get into minutia of like argument over like
Driver's license,
right driver's licenses or
D-
even minarchy and anarchy. Like there's things, but we can all agree that hey, the empire out there it exists.
bad.
But now I'm saying, well, this technically isn't an empire. It's a empires are designed to blah blah blah. I'm like fuck off. It's an empire. We have how many military presence do we have in how many countries? What, like 130? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's a lot,
Yeah, I
but
think
some of
If
them
it's
are
more
very
than
small.
one, then we have problems, and we do have lots of problems. And this it brings me back to Ron Paul's thing about the Federal Reserve, and they're the ones who can manipulate the money and print money to fund the empire and fund the war machine, and it's just a never-ending cycle of bullshit. And the fact that libertarians can't see that, even people even normies should be able to see, like, oh yeah, this is kind of fucked up. A month ago, from the same news publication that actually had
honestly, it's the lefty or like the center left people that I'm seeing that are, and maybe it's just because they hate Trump, but they're the ones who seem to be the anti-war voices right now. Aside from like Ron Paul and like the core people that are always consistent.
yeah, for now. But I'm curious. I'm very very angry about that too.
The anti-war left woke up from their 12-year slumber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say they're fully awake. They're kind of just like sitting up in their bed, whether or not like should I get up or not? Should I just hit the snooze button and go to bed again? Because they'd have to blame their hero for being a war criminal too. That's the only reason why they're coming out against us. Because if this was Syria that we started blowing up people in Syria, they'd be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. This
But
is
so
perfectly fine. Trump's a hero.
But they can harken back and say, well, look, Obama signed the Iran deal.
That's what they're
So-
saying. That's what all of them are saying.
Yeah.
I've never gotten this many likes in a Washington Post comment section ever before. So I knew something's up, and it's just it pisses me off. But whatever.
I mean, I'll
take it
take
for
it
now.
Yeah.
For now, because the Obama ruined them. Because now, if anything has to do with Iraq, Syria, the drone
Yemen.
program, Yemen, they can't say anything. They have to be dead quiet because then they'd have to admit that their boy Barry was a fucking war criminal.
Barrio.
Yeah, Yemen is a fucking mess.
It's a mess. Everywhere's a mess. And you know who causes it? The United States. Tell me I'm wrong. Someone say I'm wrong. Oh, wait, they did in the Facebook group a whole bunch of times. Just a stupid libtard. Assholes.
Oh, poor Phil.
No,
man.
poor me.
Yeah, and
Man.
you know, if
Sorry.
you guys remember, last week we actually couldn't stream live to Facebook. So then, you know, tonight we actually tried to stream live to Facebook. We tried to do a test, and we were logged in my account, and I was not able to stream live to Facebook. What did it come up? And it said there was an error, right, Jared?
I think it says something about an error, yeah.
Yeah, it said something
Like-
about an error.
Just an error.
Now, so then we got the idea. Okay, we'll log into Jared's Facebook, and then with Jared's Facebook, we're able to go live. So
Yeah.
apparently, Facebook has put some sort of restriction on my account, even though I can still post on the page. I can still like share memes on the page, you know, articles, like anything. But for some reason, I can't go live. And
Maybe they're just starting to get really granular with the way that they like fuck with people.
I don't know.
Like it
And-
used to just be
yeah,
well, like Phil's got his whole account banned still.
Yeah.
Auto
here.
But then auto here. But I guess with your account they haven't outright banned you, but they're saying, well, we don't want you broadcasting your face everywhere.
Well, see, that's the thing.
or broadcasting our faces.
That's the thing. I was never given any notification saying I can't go live.
yeah.
You know, and then when I go there, it comes up saying that there was an error. In other words, it's just showing me it looks like it's some sort of mistake with Facebook. There's no notice saying you cannot go live for X amount
I
of
mean,
days
it could
because
be, it
of
could very well be a glitch. You know,
I doubt it.
we like to, but you know, it's not fun to think about it that way. It's fun to think that they're trying to silence us, which
Yeah.
is partial, which is definitely true to some degree.
yeah. So
I mean, that's why they deleted our page.
yeah. So if Facebook's fucking with us for some reason. I can't go live on Facebook. I don't know. We also, I just want to like throw this in there. We have a Patreon now, and if you contribute a minimum of $1 per month, you will gain access to our After Hours podcast, which we record.
It is
That's
like crack,
nice.
dude. It's
Yeah.
addictive.
Our podcast
best
that we
crack.
record right after this. So yeah, hit us up over at patreon.com/punk.
And if you're a
rock
Patreon
libertarians.
subscriber, I won't boot you from the group anymore.
No, dude. Okay, so we got to talk about this. Okay,
Yeah,
so
suck.
Oh.
okay, so we're gonna bring this up.
About to
We
get awkward.
probably weren't gonna talk about this on the podcast. So at any rate, so Phil gets into these heated discussions yesterday, and I wasn't even paying attention. I was just like hanging out with my family, trying to like live life and not
Who
deal
does
with
that
Facebook.
shit?
Yeah. So at any rate,
Because I don't live my life and love my family. But all right, cool.
No,
let's
I-
go.
dude, I'm
Keep going,
he's
Matt.
not saying that.
I'm
He's
just
not
I'm just
saying
fucking with
that.
you, Phil. And I also you know, the first thing before I talk to you about this at all, you know, I told you I'm grateful for your efforts here. You know.
Yeah, that was your prerequisite.
Yeah. I mean.
But-
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
pretty
but,
much.
yeah, there's a butt coming.
I-
like, oh, you just calling me to tell me how great I am. I'm like, thanks, man.
No, I wanted you to know that you were appreciated before I told you why I disagree with something that you did. You know. Yeah. So Phil, you like? Why don't you tell the story?
So, like I said, when I open up the Facebook group, expecting to see a lot of people upset about the Iran thing going
You expect
on.
to see a lot of people cheering for you in your echo chamber.
I expected it to be a little bit more of an echo chamber.
You're like, you're
in a
pra-
good way.
You're like,
In a-
praise me, libertarian.
In a good way. I don't need praise. I don't need praise. But I don't need to be called a libtard piece of shit and everything else either. But that may be. But going back, so I started seeing all these people just going at it. And so I just made one post of all the things that countered what everyone was saying about Iran and how it's not a threat. And I was just like, dude, after all these people, and I don't care. I said, I was like, if you are in favor of going to war with Iran, stop calling yourself a libertarian. And that's what I
Sounds
said.
fair to me.
And I didn't say you're not a real libertarian. I just said just stop calling yourself libertarian. Maybe you can call yourself something else, conservative, whatever. I don't care. And it's whatever. You want to say it's a purity test? Go. Good. I don't care. And you failed. So, and that's it. Just like, oh my God, it was like a moth to flames. All these assholes just calling me out, saying I'm this type of shit, I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm talking about, just continuing propagating these lies about like what's going on in Iran, and just believing the same publications that just less than a month ago came out and said, oops, we were wrong about the war in Afghanistan, whatever. And so people, I went into the group, I sent into the group chat, I said, dude, there's a lot of people here. Like, I want to fucking boot these people. Like, they're a bunch of, like, neocons. I forget exactly what I said. And then Jared said, do it. And I was like, okay, done. And so I just started booting all these people that were giving me shit.
Okay, so let me just, like, clarify here. I'm a little blazed. So you said you're going to start booting people, right?
I said I wanted to. I was like, dude, I want to, like, kick these people out.
And then Jared, the Jew, said, go ahead, give them a helicopter ride.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And also Alex, although Alex doesn't have any authority. But Alex was I the first one to say? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you were. And then I was like, fuck yeah.
Well, I was also this was around the time, and we were probably going through the same emotions. Because, like, I was on Twitter and seeing this whole thing with the Redhead Libertarian and then, like, all these people. And, like, I was just like, you got to be fucking kidding me, man. I thought this was the one thing that we could all agree on. Like, yeah. And now, but you've got even, like, she's, like, I don't know why she's, like, stuck in my craw right now, but, like, this is not even a person that I had seen post pro-Trump shit.
No,
so I'm like,
not at all.
Has the propaganda gotten this deep? Are people this fucking stupid that it doesn't even, it's not even has to do with necessarily defending Trump, but you just, I was infuriated. And then I saw, you posted the screenshot of, I think it was
Twitter.
I think it was Liberty Van. Like saying something.
Oh yeah. I posted. I think I said in the group chat. I sent a picture of like the things people were saying. It was just fucking crazy.
And some of them were like insulting to you too. It wasn't just like
it wasn't just like it was just like you're not a real libertarian. You're stupid. You're libtard. All these things and these guys and so I was like, okay, let me just. Okay, who are these people saying shit? And then I click on what they are. I can see their recent posts, and it's none of it's libertarian stuff that they're saying. There's a lot of guys who started out that way that I just said I booted, and I was like, okay, I got the approval. This guy's been pissing me off for months, trashing libertarians, trashing me, and I let shit go like what was going on, and so I finally got approval for Jared, and I'm sorry, Matt. Maybe I should have sent you a message. It's your group. This is your thing, but you did give me a role as an admin, and so that's why I asked first. I appreciate the chain of command, and I went to the closest approval I got was Jared. So I just started booting people, and when
that's ridiculous, dude. That's just like ridiculous.
No.
Dude.
It wasn't okay. So there was a lot of people who disagree with some of the stuff I was saying. And let's say like Timothy was kind of leaving me alone and leaving everyone else alone for the most part. And so I was like, okay, well, he comes through my crosshairs. He's gone too. Like if he starts calling me out, because he's the last person I want to hear.
Dude, you can't delete Timothy. You've got to save that for me, dude. You got to say that's for me. That's gonna be my call, dude.
I booted.
He's like my Darth Vader sometimes.
So I went back and I checked the logs of how many people I booted. I only booted 4 people. 4. Last of them being Drucker, and he, and it's all public information. So I don't mind saying his name. It's all public out there. And if you're listening to the podcast, you're obviously in the group. So you had to have seen my post, and you'll still see it because everything's up in there. And he got into this thing saying that if I forget the exact wording of his post, but it said if you like, oh yeah, we should up and leave Iran, and that way we'll I don't care about a Holocaust that happened in Israel.
Hold on, let me just point out you're getting a lot of support in the comments here.
Yeah, Mike has been very supportive.
Mike is saying Phil was 100% correct in his debates, in my opinion. Someone else named Aaron is saying agreed. Phil is 100% right on this issue.
Phil, are these just
are these your sock accounts?
Are these just sock accounts? I keep seeing you pulling out multiple burner phones, getting on Facebook.
It's like, hold on, guys, hold on. Yeah, look, I got a bunch.
Phil is 100% right and very handsome.
It is weird that they both said 100%, like right. Yeah. But no, it's. I'm glad. I appreciate it because this is like the most support, because I did feel kind of not alone in this, because I was just like, am I the only one? And so I got to him, and he just started making this about the whole. I'm like, okay, cool. So you're saying that if we don't support Israel, we're a bunch of Nazis? And he was like, well, it just started about people hating Jews, and then I was a Jew. Like, I'm making exceptions for Jewish people, blah blah blah, and how much I hate the Jews, and it just kept coming back to that. And I was like, dude, and that's time I'd had it. You're right. I had it, and I was like, go find punk rock neocons. They'd love your shit over there if that's what you're going to keep on saying. If this is your debate. I'm like, you obviously don't know who I am because you're saying all these ridiculous, crazy things, only to find out this guy listens to the podcast all the time. He's a Patreon subscriber. He was like a good friend of Matt's. And so obviously when I booted him, somehow there was community. I don't know what happened, but Matt said he let him back in the group after, and that's what led to the phone call yesterday, telling me how great I was.
No, at any rate, okay, so Steven Drucker, we've been friends for a while, I wouldn't say we're necessarily good friends, but I mean, we've always had like cordial conversations. He seems like a cool dude. And then I talked to him on the phone yesterday about the whole thing, and I don't know, he seemed like a pretty reasonable guy. And I'm just thinking that if somebody likes us enough to, have this, this great conversation with me. He's always been fine with me. He contributes money each month to like have the podcast keep going. So he probably agrees with us a fair amount if he's going to actually pitch in for our podcast. Out of the millions of podcasts that this guy could pitch into, there's like 7 million podcasts or something. Mm-hmm. But he's probably not that far off from us, and I think that's pretty silly to ban somebody out of the group that much. It's really disagreements, I feel like, are what keeps the group interesting, because like an echo chamber is just like mad boring.
Yeah, I do see what you're saying, and if I would have known he was a Patreon subscriber, I probably wouldn't have. I would have definitely sent a message saying, "What the fuck? Why are you saying all this shit?"
Here's the thing, dude. It's not about somebody being a Patreon subscriber.
I know.
It's about it's about like it's just like a disagreement, and it's a disagreement with somebody who you probably agree with them at least 90% of the time. So
to make a correction here, Mike is saying he's not sure about booting people though.
Yeah, I know. I saw he deleted his fucking comment. Thanks, Mike. He deleted his comment saying I was 100% right.
No, it's still up there. It's still up there.
It said this comment.
Oh, okay. Dude, you get a bad Mike too?
I'm thinking about it, Mike. Piss me off.
It's not a debate group, though. I mean, Punk Rock Libertarians is supposed to be a libertarian-themed group.
Thank you.
Well, that's the thing. And what I've noticed with the group...
No, I think it is a debate group, dude.
I know. I would consider it a debate group. But I think it's fine. That's fine to have debate. But when you're saying, I hate Jews, like, that's not debating. You're just asserting and really ridiculous claims on the internet for everyone to see. And
I'm not justifying like everything that Steven said. I'm just saying I'm saying, dude, like as far as you're telling me, you can't tell me that this is like the first time you had an altercation with this dude. People sometimes get heated about like certain issues. It's like I don't think we should be so quick to delete people, and I think you were quick to delete them because you can't say for certain that you've actually had
I will say I was quick to delete him, but I felt like at the time I was justified. And when I say if I had known he was a Patreon subscriber, I wouldn't have done it. It's because if you're a Patreon subscriber, there's something there, like more. Like you said, you've checked in, so you would know that what my real feelings are about this stuff. So why would you at that point make these assertions about me and be so off topic about your claims that like I would definitely have been, okay, before I do this, I'm going to go back and forth more with this guy. I'm going to say what's going on. Like, why would you say like, dude, you hear me all the time. It's not because he's giving us money. It's because like it shows me you're checked in. So why would you be so off base on your claims? And have I ever said anything here that I don't like Israel because it's run by Jews? Have you guys ever heard me say anything remotely close to that, or even joke? I don't even really make a lot of Jewish jokes compared to some other people sitting here.
He's never talked about my nose.
Never.
I don't really have a Jewish nose.
No, you don't, so that's why I don't talk about it.
I have a Jewish nose.
I didn't even know you were Jew.
I have a Jewish nose.
I have more Jewish nose than all of you guys.
Jewish nose and last name, but somehow is completely not Jewish at all.
I'm totally Jewish.
You probably have something in your
bro?
bloodline, dude.
I'm totally Jewish.
We got to get you an Ancestry.com report,
No,
dude.
I did a 23andMe.
Yeah, I'm 1,024th Jewish. Yeah.
And Native American.
Maybe that should be the podcast title. 1,024th Jewish.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, from here, we're going to take this on over to the After Hours program. We also have T-shirts over at libertariancountry.com. So if you go to libertariancountry.com and you type in the code PRL or the code PRL podcast, you'll receive a 10% discount. Until next time, live free
Or die.